On everyone. So we got to talk about Nick Smith Jr. So he's somebody that the Lakers, again, when they signed, I was super excited, right? When he was a free agent, did a video on him. I know I do videos on all the potential free agents because I do. I love breaking down the potentials of various guys, right? Nick Smith Jr. was one of the guys that I talked about, and I said, hey, here's a guy that I think could really come in and immediately make an impact. A guy that I think could help you win games now. But we'll see if the Lakers, do they bring him in on a two-way? Do they bring him on? It was like at least a training camp deal. We got to at least let him show what he could do. Training camp, maybe get a couple preseason games in, and then maybe make your decision quarterly. And they snatched him up immediately. I think it was like 2 hours after I made the video. Nick Smith Jr. was on the Lakers on a two-way deal. And I was like, perfect, right? Like, don't be shocked if by mid-season, he's on the main roster, right? I believe the Lakers will make a trade at some point. As good as they're playing right now, I still think that they make a trade. We still have some clear needs, some clear holes, but the Lakers have been playing phenomenal. I mean, they just won a game without Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. Like, literally, like, on the road, by the way, in Portland, against a team that's been playing very well and just beat us, right? So, again, Lakers keep impressing over and over and over again. But Nick Smith Jr. was a guy that I was like, hey, look, I think he's a guy, if the Lakers pull off a trade, I could see him making the main roster in like that sixth-man bucket getter off the bench type role, right? I talked about how, at least two-way, don't be shocked if he gets a handful of games this season and he ends up being a big factor in winning that. You know why? Because we saw it in Charlotte, right? He's a very young, talented, gifted player who can score with the best of them when he's cooking and on. But he's also young enough to where he has tons of room for growth, upside, and potential. Now, I have talked about, for those that are familiar with the videos, I don't necessarily see him as a starter, even down the line. Again, never say never, particularly if he works on the defense side. He's actually been good defensively. He's been working hard, getting after it defensively, which he was a guy that wasn't looked that way previous. Now, granted, it's the Charlotte Hornets, right? It's like, you look at guys like B.J. Washington, was not really looked at as a defender, went to Dallas and became their defensive anchor, right? So again, it's kind of hard to really properly assess, a player's defense just based on, the poor team that they played on. Where now he's on the Lakers, where it's more demanding of him. JJ Redick is request like, hey, dude, you need to play. But you got to keep in mind, this kid's 21 years old. Nick Smith Jr., he's as young as our draft pick this year in a dude zero. And he already is a guy that can go get you buckets. Right? So far this season, he's averaging 11.3 points, 2 rebounds, and 3.3 assists on 50% from the field. Now, granted, it's a small sample size, and we'll go into that here in a moment. But this was a game that showed exactly what Nick Smith Jr. could do for you, this Portland game. Came off the bench and gave you 25 and 27 minutes. Now, I'm not necessarily expecting him to average 25 a game, right? But talked about it, right? Like, I could see him being that 15-point-a-night guy off the bench, maybe 17-point-a-game guy off the bench, right? Right now, Jeremy Grant is actually leading the NBA in bench scoring with he's averaging 21 points per game. So if Nick Smith Jr. could be one of those guys that comes in off the bench, he'll start many a nights, right? Guys get the night off, he steps up, he steps in, boom, there you go. But to me, I think all things healthy, all things together, Nick Smith Jr. is a guy that comes in, right, plays and if he's willing to play and buy into that role of like that Lou Williams, that, Jay crossover type, right? A more efficient Jordan Clarkson, right? Like a guy that could go win 6th man of the year, basically. A guy that could come in and be that contributor that's going to get to start many nights. Austin Reeves gets the night off, no worries. Nick Smith Jr. sliding it. Luka Doncic gets the night off, no worry. Nick Smith Jr. sliding it, right? And his ability to shoot and play off ball and play on ball, right? Like you can even at times maybe play him, Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, right? Like it gives you that versatility. He's very smooth with it. He is very, Jamal Crawford-esque, right? Gets to his spots, can elevate, shoot over the top. He can be, he showed, even last night, he could be a legit 3-level scorer. Get into his spots, stopping on a dime, elevating, shooting over the top, applying rim pressure, taking guys off the dribble, getting to the basket, right? Step back, knocking down 3 balls. He's showing his ability to be a bucket getter. And to me, he's somebody like that he's that gem. Like, he still has, don't get me wrong, he still has a long way to go, a lot of growth. Again, he's 21 years old. He's 21 years old with NBA experience under his belt. And he's coming off of a good NBA season, right? Like, but we'll get into that here in a moment. We're going to break him down in a second. But again, you look at last night, 27 minutes, 25 points. Here's the big key, though. He also dished out 6 assists, right? Scoring the basketball is great. We know he can score the basketball. Can he help initiate the offense? Can he actually make plays for the others? Right? And can he at least try and put in the effort on the defensive side? And I thought he showed all those things. Look, he was 10 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 6 from 3-point range, right? But again, he had 2 steals, only 3 turnovers, right? For a guy that, again, is young, getting high usage because we just don't have ball handlers, right? I'm not happy about 3 turnovers, but again, given context, I'm like, hey, that was great. He didn't have like a 5 to 7 turnover game like he could have, right? So he showed the ability to obviously, again, score the basketball, which is what I look at him as. But can you be more than just a scorer? Can you dish out assists? Can you make plays? Can you run and initiate the offense? Can you control the pace and keep things focused and down? And I thought he did a brilliant job with all of that. Thought he did an excellent job just kind of keeping this Lakers team focused, engaged, and just, hitting shot after shot after shot. It was just a very impressive outing from Nick Smith Jr., right? Like I said, he's 21 years old. He'll be 22 in April, right? So even next year, he basically won't be 22 till we're getting ready to go into the playoffs. So talk about a guy 6'2", 6'3". I know he looks bigger at times, but it's the hair, right? Like, he's 6'2", 6'3", because I've even had comments, even in live streams, people are like, man, is like Nick Smith Jr. like 6'5", 6', and I'm like, nah, I wish he was that tall. He's more like 6'2", 6'3". But he's, 185. Again, he's crafty, he's smooth, he can play either guard spot for you, which is nice, because, he's a guy that can get buckets. The beauty is that he's already comfortable at an NBA level, and he's 21 years old and doesn't have a ton of experience and years under his belt, right? Like, this is his 3rd year. His 3rd season in the league. He has 2 previous years. Last year was his best year, right? It was his most minutes, all of that. So he played 60 games, started in 27 games, averaged 22.8 minutes per game. So it wasn't even like 30 minutes or anything crazy like that. 22.8 minutes per game. He took 9.5 field goal attempts per game, shot 39% from the floor, right? He shot 34% from 3-point range on 5.1 attempts. So most of them were, against were 3-point attempts, right? But you also got to keep in mind, 34% isn't great, right? It's not terrible, but it isn't great, especially for a guard. Got to keep in mind, he's on Charlotte. Most of the reason he started was because there's no LaMelo and stuff like that. So, you're playing alongside Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves. Just the quality of attempts are going to be much better, right? So that's something else we got to keep in mind as well. But you look at the previous year. That's what I say. You look at the previous year. He's 43.2% from 3-point range on 3 attempts. So can he get back to, not necessarily saying like 43%, but can he be 40 or 38%? Right? So can he kind of average out in the middle? Last year from 2-point range on 4.4 attempts, shot 45% from 2-point range, EFG of 48.2%, free throw shooting, 92.3%. He's a career 91% guy from the free throw line. He's a good free throw shooter. Rebounds, 2.1 rebounds, 2.4 assists, half a steal. That would be nice to round up, half a block, and 9.9 points. So a guy that basically gave you 10, 2, and 3 with half a steal, half a block. You look at his per 36 that year, which doesn't tell you everything, but kind of gives you an idea. He would have been just under 16 points. He would have been 15.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, half a steal, half a block. Right? Like, to me, perfect. Like, that's all I'm looking for him to be with the Lakers, right? Like, is just give us that, right? Now, I don't want to read the Lakers stats right now because it hasn't updated from the game, or at least at the time of recording this video. I'm sure I'll talk about Nick Smith Jr. later on because it just, again, you only have kind of the game, and he played, he averaged, that was the per 36. I guess I'll go over the Lakers stats, but keep in mind, this isn't counting the game he just had, right? So he was averaging 5.5 field goal attempts, shot 27.3% from the field, 3 attempts from 3, shot 17%. They said all these numbers are going to skyrocket because of that game, right? Because he went, 5 of 6 from 3-point range, and then, dead of 13 from the field total. So all these numbers are going to skyrocket, which is why I didn't really want to talk about his Laker numbers yet. But I'm here, and I don't want to look like I'm trying to mask it. So again, I'm sure his numbers will better average out, especially after that game. 2-point range, 40% on 2.5 attempts. EFG of 31.8%. Free throw shooting does need improving, but knocked down some free throws, which is good. 1.5 attempts, small sample size, but still. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, half a block, and 4.5 points, right? Like I said, that will go up because, we just saw him go off for 25 and do all that. I guess we'll go over his per 36 too for that. So his per 36, he'd be 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists with 1.5 blocks per game. So again, he's getting after it defensively. Again, he's 11, 5, and 5 guy just based on what we got. Now, again, probably be roughly that. Rebounds was probably going to drop because he only had 1 rebound, but assists might go up a little bit. But yeah, like I said, if he can be an 11, 5, and 5 guy off the bench, that is huge for the Lakers. If he can be a 15, 4, and 4 guy off the bench, huge for the Lakers. I like Nick Smith Jr. I think this was a huge pickup. But as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.